If our customer has a will to live a good life, then we'll be there to make it well for them. If we only had design for people with special needs, how do you wrestle with the idea of inclusion in this case? In this day and age, a lot of things come and go really quickly.
Yeah.
But for certain things to be nurtured, it just takes time.
Do you consider yourself having found your calling?
There is only one thing that I'm really clear about,
Mm.
and it's will and well. I know one thing that I hold very close in running a business is integrity. You say that this product sells, but does it really serve them? Are you over-promising? If I were to give an advice, right, is...
Today we have with us Elisa Lim, the founder of Will and Well, an inclusive fashion brand founded to improve lives by changing the way we approach clothing. With a forethought of the marginalized groups, such as people with disabilities and the elderly, Will and Well applies design thinking and technology to create apparels that provide comfort, dignity, and independence in their daily dressing. In this episode, we talk about how fashion and clothing can help impact lives, especially for the marginalized groups, Elisa's journey to setting up Will and Well, and her thoughts on finding one's calling and purpose in life. Hi, Elisa.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for joining us in this show. Really very honored to have you here and sharing your story of starting Will and Well. And it must have been a very tough and arduous journey, right, in starting your own social enterprise in Singapore, especially. So, how has your journey so far been?
It's been a very interesting one, I often say. Yeah, like you said, I think with many businesses as well, it's an arduous journey to begin with. It continues to be a challenging one along the way. But it's always interesting. It's always exciting because, as business owners, you would always have ideas.
Yeah.
The more you think about it, the more you grow
Yeah.
more ideas for it, and then you get more excited about it, and then the adrenaline just continues to
Yeah.
drive you through.
Yeah.
And I think it's a cycle. It's a journey.
In one of the stories that you shared on your website, the dream dress for Amelia, I actually took a read on that, and I was so inspired by how your client, Amelia, right, was so happy with the dress that your team designed for her. Could you share with us a little bit about that particular story and how that actually motivated you to continue doing the work that you do in Will and Well?
Yeah, Amelia, like many other clients that we have met, all have their own stories, all have their own experiences, and they come to us, with different kind of brief, right? So for Amelia, her sister reached out to me and said, we want to make a dream dress for Amelia. The doctors say that they do not know when she might just go because her health is not doing very good. But she was also gonna be celebrating her birthday soon. Yeah, and so it was super exciting because it's a dream dress, right, for this precious girl. And when I met with her, she's nonverbal and she sleeps for about 20 hours on average. So she's hardly awake. I actually met her. She was awake because she was really excited to, be part of the experience. And she knew exactly what kind of a dream dress she had in mind, right? And it was super interesting because, sometimes you go to a client and sometimes you're able to get the inputs from the clients themselves, but if not, other times you get inputs from caregivers. For Amelia, it was like a co-creation process.
Nice.
Yeah, with the mom.
She was a very involved client.
Yeah, 100% super involved. And because she's non-verbal, right? So she would blink in response. So if you like this one, like if you want blue, you blink one time. If you want pink, you blink twice, right? So she knew exactly what she was blinking to. And she knew exactly what she wants her dress to look like. And it was super funny because she said she wanted a dress that lights up. And I was like, what? Okay, yeah. No, that sounds really cool as a dream dress, but we haven't done a dress that lights up before.
She actually helps you push your creative boundaries.
Yeah, she did, 100%. But it was super interesting, right? I was like, okay, doesn't matter. Let's just see what you want first, right? And then we see how we will execute it. And she knew exactly when I was even looking for the lightings for the dress. I was like, do you want like rainbow, like colorful lights, or do you want like blue lights? And she knew that she wanted blue lights, and the blue lights would look really elegant with the whole
Like a Cinderella.
yeah, like a Cinderella, right? No, but she wanted the tulle to be like rainbow color.
Okay.
And she thought that maybe if she chose rainbow lights or colorful lights with her rainbow tulle, it could potentially be too much, like an overkill.
Yeah.
And this girl just knows exactly, right, what she wants. One of the most memorable experience after making the whole thing is the day of like delivery, right? Went to her place. She was in the room because she was sleeping. But she knew already that was gonna come.
There's a
Right?
delivery coming.
Yeah, and she heard me. And I was just chatting with my mom
Yeah.
and her sister outside.
Yeah.
Before they sort of take her out to see the dress. But she couldn't wait. So she held her breath. And what happens is when she holds her breath, and a loud alarm goes off
Okay.
in the house.
Okay.
And so it just went beep, 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 beep.
Yes.
And we were like, okay, no, what is happening?
There is a device that
Yeah,
tells
that
people.
tracks her. And when that happened, everyone, of course, stopped and like attended to like her.
Yeah.
And she knew exactly that was the way to capture everyone's attention so that she can be out to see her dress as well.
She's so cheeky.
Super cheeky. Super cheeky. And so when she put on the dress and then I had left and her mom was saying that like Amelia doesn't allow me to remove her dress. Like
Well, she's asleep with it.
she wants to stay with it. Yeah, and her mom have to like come up with like excuses to coax her into like just removing the dress so that she can
Yeah.
wash it.
Yeah.
And this whole experience that we have, each with a different one with each of our clients is the very reason, right, why we do what we do. Because these experiences are priceless.
I'm sure. How do you feel every time you deliver something that fits the brief and you manage to make your clients super happy?
I mean, it's the reason why we do what we do from the beginning, like what it means, right? That if our customer has a will to live a good life, then we'll be there to make it well for them.
Fantastic. And that's how the company name came about?
Yeah. pretty
Okay,
much.
okay. Yeah. And how does fashion and clothing, such things that we take for granted, right, impact lives, especially for the marginalized groups?
Clothing is something that, physically protects our skin, right? Keeps us warm or cool. And it physically, in its function, its basic function already, does a lot for us. But, it's a daily thing, the basic thing that, people don't tend to think too much about it, right? You just put it on and then you get out, right? For as long as you have the abilities to put on clothes, the ability to pick out what you like to wear, then you get along with the day. The most challenging part is not about the putting of clothes. It's choosing what to wear for one, or even like the interview that you'll be going on after that. Right? So it's never quite the priority in that sense, right? In a normal or a regular person's daily life in that sense. But it's not so much the case for quite a few other people, right? Putting on clothes can actually be the most painful part of the day, just because you come off the shower, you take 20 minutes to put on a blouse just because it's so difficult to put it on. And we're in Singapore, you put it on, you're drenched again, and you're trying to like dress up to go to work. And it just feels almost pointless, right? To be drenched after coming off of the shower, and actually from trying to put on a blouse or
It seems like you really put yourself into the shoes of your clients, and you're able to bring that awareness to their struggles and create products to address this gap that they face.
Yeah, I think it's definitely from the exposure that I got through meeting different people with different body shapes, dressing needs. We spend actually a lot of time researching, right? With different groups of people with intellectual disability, people with, on the autism spectrum, people with physical disability, all sorts of the able bodies as well, right? We test it on ourselves and we see what's the user experience like as well. And I think it's the time that we spend researching, observing, testing, that gives us insights. Yeah.
So, is empathy a big ingredient in the success of Will and Well?
Yeah, I do think so. But also with the state that we enter into understanding the user needs, one thing we also acknowledge or realize is that we cannot fully understand the needs and the challenges of these different groups. We just try our best, and that's why we actually involve the co-create. There's a lot of co-creation process in the work we do. Just because as much as I can attempt to empathize, right, with somebody's dressing challenge, I still do not know. I may not even know or be able to grasp the nuances in that whole experience, right? And as much as we try to empathize, but we also recognize that this is as much.
There's also limitation.
There's limitation, and hence it needs to be a co-creation process.
What is the most, I'd say, common misconception about your job and particularly in your industry as well?
Yeah. Okay, so it's very interesting because whenever we introduce Will and Well, then people will be like, "Oh, you mean you design clothes for people with special needs, right?" Like, and I was like, well, I kind of know where they were gonna go with that. That like, this clothes wouldn't work for me.
Okay.
It would only work for like people with special needs or disabilities, right? But that's really like the main misconception that we initially, especially so when we start, right? People think that we only design, but the thing is, you see, if we only had designed for people with special needs, right? How do you wrestle with the idea of inclusion in this case? You're basically saying that, you are making very specialized clothes only for this group of people. And it sounds almost like very exclusive.
Yeah.
And yes, we do also acknowledge that different people have different dressing challenges. But like you and I as well, right? We have different favorite colors.
Yes.
We have different style preferences. Right. And so we attend to this through our customization channel, right? Where we then attend to each customer, whether with disability or not, right? Understanding what kind of dressing challenges you may have, right? And how do you like to put on clothes? What style do you like, right? And we design from there.
Nice. What about for the masses?
Yeah.
You talk a lot about inclusion, right? So what type of clothings do you design for people with, perfectly able bodies?
In our clothes, we do try and keep it really simple. We pay attention to a couple of details. Yeah, and we try to just make it comfortable for the user themselves in quite a range of setting, and more of the daily kind of setting that we design for lah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of consideration about the lifestyle of different users as well.
Yeah, and the usability of it, right? Imagine if I had just designed gowns. It's not every day that we all wear gowns.
Correct.
It's that element that we also pay attention to when we decide what we launch and what we design.
Right. And which project was the most monumental for you and your business? Amelia's dress is the favorite for me. What about you?
Yeah, I honestly
Can't pick one, right?
I can't pick one. It's really difficult just because, like I always said, each of them have such unique dressing challenges. Each of the encounter that I have with each of them is unique. How I got to know them, the co-creation process and down to how they receive it, right? And because it's so personal, it's such a rich experience, I have to document it. And so I try my best. The team also tries to document each of these experiences, and we write them in the blog posts and we share it. Yeah, and I guess that's also how you get to read about Amelia's.
Yeah. Cool. And congratulations for pursuing your master's in social innovation recently. Have you just graduated?
Yeah, my convocation was in April.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
you.
So how is taking this degree helpful for you in furthering your agenda for Will and Well?
Yeah, I mean, it was such a rich experience. I mean, firstly, school is always such a luxury.
Right.
It's so good. I have properly think about how I can possibly be a student forever. You know, like being in a university, like forever.
That was so cool, right?
Yeah, but you know, it's self indulging, honestly. But the 2 years was really rich also because I met with a bunch of peers who were very like-minded. You know, even though peers came from different industries, you know, people from law. I have a classmate who's a dean in a law school. I have teachers in primary schools. I have like people who work in UN refugee borders. Yeah, in different places, right? So it's a bunch of varied people, and yeah, each of the experiences are different. But one thing that we can all agree upon is this solution for the good of the people, right? And because of that, we can agree on a lot of things at the end of it. Yeah, because it's centered on the good of the people.
Because you guys share almost the same ethos in whatever you do.
Yeah, in that sense, you know, even if the process might be different, you know, in different industries, at the end of it, the question is this truly good for the people? And if it is, then great, right? Otherwise, you know, let's look into how we can we can just improve certain things.
Right. And what would you suggest for a person? They're at a crossroad in their life right now, thinking that they might have something that they want to pursue.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them?
Yeah. Well, funny, before I actually chose to do that course, I was contemplating to do an MBA, right? Of course.
Of course.
And I went for all this like what do you call those?
Seminars,
Yeah, to listen,
shows and all that.
kind of that sort of stuff. And it was just very clear, right, that the people that I had spoke with, their thoughts about some of these issues that I personally am very interested in. I know what kind of business I want to make out of. If I were to give an advice, right, is you need to know what you really want to do, right? And even if you do not know, and if you kind of just briefly know that you have an interest in a certain to move certain things in certain area, like even when I was doing fashion design.
I was about to get there. A lot of people stumble into things that they thought that they might not do, but they excel.
Yeah.
Because accidentally they go into it.
Yeah, and I think it's the intent, right? You know, I was doing fashion design, and I knew that I wanted to look more into how that craft could do some good, right? And what kind of good could it come out of? And then I stumbled upon basically what Will and Well is doing now. And even while I was in the course, I made every project a research case for Will and Well.
What was the biggest insecurity you had when you were getting into fashion design and eventually starting your own social enterprise?
I think firstly, it's how I have no business training. Neither do my immediate family has any of this interest in business. So nobody, right? So it's not like I can go home and ask my mom or my dad. Yeah, none of it. And so, you know, how do I then start learning business? Yeah, just where do you begin with, right? to set up. You would understand
Yeah.
this.
But you started something out of sheer will, will and well.
Yes. I think so. Yeah. Honestly, even without all of that, I'm just very thankful for the people around me, like friends and mentors and people that came around who actually knew better and were very willing to,
Yeah.
just helped and support me along the journey. Yeah, and I mean honestly, I think even till today, I feel like my insecurities is still in the business end. I mean, I have learned how to do basic stuff. I know how to make sure that the team is not going to
Gets paid.
yeah, the team gets paid, money, cash flows properly and stuff like that. But there's still a lot of things that I question and
Right.
I can do better.
And perhaps like what you say, seeking mentors, getting their help to probably give us some advice on our blind spots and things that we may not foresee would be very helpful in our career in starting in our own startup as well.
Yeah, 100%. People around you, right? The pillars of support around you, I think they do help very much.
What's the most important advice you have received from a mentor or a peer in regards to running a passion-based business or purpose-based business?
I don't particularly remember anyone, but I know one thing that I hold very close in running a business is integrity, right?
Tell us more.
Integrity, I mean, not just in the numbers, in the business aspect, but also even in the design process, right? How do you ensure the integrity of the product for your users, right? You say that this product sells right? But does it really serve them, right? Are you over-promising on your product delivery? And I mean, I'm not saying that we always do it like 100%, like perfect, right? The thing about integrity is that, you do sometimes, stumble onto certain situations. You do waver a little bit here and there, just because, it can be the easier way out of things. One thing that we make sure as a team to do right by people and the work that we do is to ensure the integrity in our intent as well, in our design, in our approaches, in the numbers.
And that would sustain a business in a long run as well, because we have principles or guiding values that we can also adopt across the value chain, right? Not just ourselves, but also we hold our suppliers, for example, to a certain level of ethics, right? And I think that's really cool for you to uphold that kind of principles to serve your clients. So that's really commendable.
Thank you. I honestly don't think it's much easier to speak about it.
We are on a topic of integrity. Was there any situations in the business decision making that you had to, be very careful about it?
Yeah, I think there are points, right? Especially in, very basic day-to-day stuff, even in the process of designing something, right? And the iterations that we have to continuously take. And then sometimes you get really frustrated. You're like, wow, you've spent so much time on this product already, right? And then you're like, it's still not there yet. And then like you feel very tempted to just say, let's just do it. And let's just put it out there. And God knows, right, how many times I might have done that already. But I think one thing that really helps is that the mind to always be, it's okay. I mean, in all honesty, the challenge with designers also is that you can be very critical with your work and nothing gets out there.
Yeah, perfectionist syndrome.
Yeah, and in the process at all. So I think it's also the time where you can say, okay, it's okay, let's just put this out first. But it's when you put that out, it's you knowing exactly that you're only putting two out. You're not gonna try and overmarket certain things. You're not gonna try and so I think in all of this entire process there are so many points of like that you can do an integrity check.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you consider yourself having found your calling?
without doubt, for many things that I do today, right?
Mm.
There is only one thing that I'm really clear about, and it's Will and Well.
And it is quite fortunate that both you and I, right, we managed to find something that sparks off a certain purpose for us. And for you, it's about having that building that dignity for people who have trouble dressing, and building that social inclusion through fashion and clothing. So for people who are still struggling to find out what they are actually good at versus what they're passionate about, and also what's their calling in life, what do you think they can start doing or not do?
I think for me to get where I am, I was very curious about a lot of things. I still am. And I think it's with that curiosity for something that you might come across at the start and that might slowly pique your interest,
Yeah.
right? And become something that you become committed to.
Right.
It takes time,
Yes.
right? And in this day and age, a lot of things come and go really quickly.
Yeah.
But the reality of things is that for certain things to be nurtured or to develop, it just takes time. Allow yourself the time to be curious, to then be interested in something, to learn more about that thing, and keep going with it. Then possibly, I believe you will reach somewhere with
Yeah.
something.
And can I add that we shouldn't give up as well?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's a very interesting topic about giving up,
Okay.
right? Because in the conversation of business,
Mm.
there are plenty of times that you think about when is an appropriate time to exit.
Yes, to let go.
Yeah, to let go. Yeah, I just thought it was very interesting because I think these are things that we wrestle with
Yeah.
doing business.
Precisely.
time.
There's so many times when you just decide to, you know what, let's throw in a towel because something's not working. But you never know when is the next break that you're gonna have if you persevere. But at the same time, you should also consider your pros and cons and how much you're willing to continue sacrificing, right? And trade off to make that dream happen for you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, honestly, if an entrepreneur the entrepreneurship journey is really rough, right? If you do need to take a break, it's fine as well.
Mm.
Oh, my dad says, that one of his good friend who he thinks is a really good businessman,
Yeah.
knows when to take a pause, knows when to to sort of get into a season of respite,
Yeah.
right? And then when he's ready and when he's bored doing this already, he goes back into the market again and he does his own thing again.
Yeah.
And so that really was very helpful to know that, even when you press a pause button, it doesn't mean that you're stopping.
That is really powerful. Yeah. So despite being so hard in social entrepreneurship, what keeps you going these days?
There are quite a lot of things that keeps me going just because, it was always so exciting. It's very exciting, to think that you still have almost halfway, well, you are almost halfway through, but there are so many other things that can come through in the other half of the time that you might have. Is quite a lot to look forward to. And I always tell my friends that I look forward to being a grandmother. I look forward to, when I turn 40, because I would like to look back and see how far I've come.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, maybe at 40 then it's the start. I don't know.
Perhaps. Or maybe another startup. Right.
But yeah, who knows?
What are the exciting plans you have for Will and Well?
Yeah. Plenty. One of it is research, right? We're working on understanding the undergarment needs, how accessible and intuitive undergarment can promote the hygiene of a person. Yeah, so we're doing research in that space. And we sort of have worked out a business model for that. We're in the midst of these research with our users. So that itself is really exciting. The team is excited about it too. Yeah, that's just one of it.
Well, I'm really excited for your new initiative for the business, expanding product line, getting new products to the market as well, and increasing pipeline for the business. I guess we're in business, that's what really excites us most, getting things going,
Yeah.
getting things done. And as creatives as well, we like to have new ideas, and can our ideas help solve a particular problem? I think that there will be such a demand for accessible undergarments for one, and the market that is untapped in regards to the hygiene portion is also fantastic, and it's very exciting as well. We have a market of developing countries looking to improve their standards of hygiene, and having this idea, I think, is wonderful.
Well, hopefully, that we are able to continue to meet needs with whatever business initiatives that we try and work on.
So lastly, where can people find you and your business online?
Yeah, I mean, you can find us on www.willandwell.com. And you can find us on our social media as well, Instagram, Facebook, and our cute little TikTok that has a couple of posts by now. But yeah, you can try and find us around.
Okay. And they could also connect with you on LinkedIn as well, right?
Yeah, LinkedIn as well.
Thank you, Elisa, so much for your very generous sharing, your insights, your experience being a social entrepreneur. I'm sure it's not easy. I'll know. The whole journey of starting something from nothing and pushing boundaries, bringing new products to market, getting rejected, and all of the shebangs. But yeah. So thank you so much for sharing, and we hope to see you again. Really soon.
My pleasure. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Yep.
If you have enjoyed our conversation with Elisa and want to learn more about the social impact space, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to our channel on all platforms that this podcast is on, so that we can deliver new content to you. Epic Nation is a passion project created by the team at Epic Dialogue, a Singapore-based marketing agency that helps change-making businesses create social impact through our sustainability branding, communications, and digital marketing solutions.